It's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Brooks, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Welcome back, second hour of the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here with Ajay Salvesen filling in for the absent Eric Franson. He's off where there is no cell service, and he's on vacation anyway. So, remember when I went on vacation when I first got the job? That was like while I was in Wyoming. That was when Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert were traded. I think I found out Rudy Gobert was being traded as I was walking into a train museum. In Wyoming. Fun times. But Eric, once again, abandoning me. I would never do that to him.
No, you've always been loyal.
Except I did it like twice in the last month where I left. Of course, I did the show remote.
If he doesn't call me in May, I'm going to be ticked.
I'll make sure to have him. Of course, the thing is, we'll be going down to like 1 hour then probably.
It doesn't matter. He needs to call me. He told me he would call me.
He should. He did I know there was one time where he called me. I think that was like, it was a while ago because I think I ended up joining the show remote anyway.
Yeah. I remember he did one show solo and then he called me and goes, "Hey, I've been solo for a few days." And I'm like, "Why didn't you call me?" "I don't know."
Usually because I forget.
Now. Yeah.
Anyway, going back to the Full Court Press text line.
You are so late on this. This is embarrassing.
It's like 10 minutes.
How dare you?
2305 said, didn't Stu Morrill have family already here in Cache Valley, which left him in a situation where he could stay here? I don't know if it was in Cache Valley, but it was in Utah.
It was in Utah. It wasn't immediate family either.
Yeah, but yeah, that was something we were talking about. Stu Morrill staying. Basically, nobody else has stayed long term, at least in the 21st century. Heck, in the 20th century, people didn't stick around.
Can I just add on how cool it was to be in that same room with you and Stu and those guys, asking him questions? And
yeah,
he had that same old kind of just groggy, I don't really want to talk to the media, but we'll do it anyways because I have to.
Yeah.
And then I looked out after, he was like, "All right, I'm excited to go eat."
He was still fun though. Like I said,
great.
Like I asked him because I know he'd never met me before. I was like, I'm Jason Walker. He's like, "Hi, Jason." And I was like, he's just so nice.
He calls me AJ. I have told him hey, I don't know if you remember. I'll say, "Yeah, AJ, how you doing?" "No, Coach, it's Ajay."
Ajay.
"All right, AJ, I'm gonna go get something to eat."
Speaking of which, 2305 adds another one. Said, "Good to hear Ajay."
Oh.
Spelled AWJAY.
Nice.
Ajay, your perspective.
You.
This is good old text to speech. You're good to hear, Ajay. Your perspective is always welcome to us listeners.
Oh well, thank you, 2305.
I do welcome it because it's really nice having you on. So
I appreciate it. This is a blast. Good to have everybody.
Always love your perspective and jazz realism, especially.
Oh, can we talk jazz? Because I'd like to talk jazz basketball with you today.
We got to get through all these texts and talk Utah State.
You take an hour to get through half these things.
Well, and I'm going to need another hour to get through the rest of them.
You're going to be like 5:25. All right, at 4:56. Here's the other text.
This one was at 4:56. 5344. Texting you saying, kind of bummed the cow helmets were released on April Fool's Day. They took me back to my farm roots. I want to see it for real. That was the funniest thing is Utah State, they released these cow print helmets and everyone's like, "Oh, these are awesome."
Dude, it looked like Charlie Brown's Halloween costume.
Yeah, I didn't think
a bunch of holes in it.
Like, I didn't think it was that good, but like, I don't know. Maybe it would grow on me if they actually did it. But like, there were so many people that were like, dude, these are like actually like everyone knew April Fool's joke. But like, a lot of them was like, yeah, it's April Fool's joke. But what if we actually did that?
Okay, so here's the thing. Like, could you imagine what the uniforms look like? All white with like the udders or whatever, like on the stomach, and then like the tail at the bottom at the behind.
Have like the numbers on the front be like the color of the udder.
Oh,
some
dude.
Kind of pinkish.
Well, so I thought it was real because I walked into the athletics office.
You thought those were real?
And Ashley Springer and Jane Johnson. Okay, so Ashley one time told me to look up what the difference is between the left and right Twix bar, and it took me 2 hours. It took me 2 hours to find out that there was no difference. I was so ticked.
They ran a whole ad campaign about
I
left and right
didn't know
Twix.
what it meant. And then Ashley is like, "Hey, Ajay, they shut down Pizza Pie Cafe," and I was so depressed because I just ate there for the last 2 nights, and I was just like, "Man, yeah." They told me about these helmets in the Duke Blue field. I thought it was all real.
Do they still have that helmet? Or do they like Photoshop it, or do they make an actual cow print helmet to
I
photo?
wouldn't be surprised if they photoshopped it. I don't know. I don't trust the internet anymore after today. So you know what? Forget it.
9356. We mentioned last hour. I got a press release about esports.
Oh yes.
That says esports has tons of schools. Look for mountain biking next from UHSAA.
Hey, mountain biking would be cool. Actually, I would be all about that. Especially, we would have home field advantage here.
Well, there's a lot of people next to the mountains in Utah.
I
whole
mean,
Wasatch Front.
Well, Southern Utah would be in trouble.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
would.
They got cliffs. They don't have mountains like this.
Yeah.
9356 brings up a great point.
Yeah.
Mountain bike.
First time texter too. Welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome to the show. 89356.
Yeah, it's like I said, I won't knock any competition. I love competitions, however they come. And mountain biking obviously has its own realm. And
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. We'll see. Lots of
Slapping.
There are a lot of fun things. If you can get high schoolers involved in any kind of club activity competition, I'm all for it.
Yeah, me too.
It
I'm
may
with you.
be kind of weird to me, but like,
Oh, it'd give you more broadcasting opportunities.
but like, there's people that think sports are weird, so it's like, and it is when you actually think about it. But a bunch of grown men chasing a ball around in brightly colored tights. It's basically what it is.
What sport is that?
Football mainly.
Interesting.
An egg-shaped ball, they just run around chasing it, hitting each other. 9315. I think a couple more texts.
Okay.
Trying to make sure. 9315 is like our super texter, and he sends in like 3 or 4.
Why do you
at a time.
make it sound like it's so bad?
I'm saying it's a good thing. It's like super texter. That's a positive thing,
You're
Ajay.
16 minutes late on this text. How dare you?
It says most fans want more than a coach for 1 year, and same with players. People like consistency.
Yeah. If people want to donate to the program, they want to say, "Hey, if I donate, I want to see what's going on. Like, I want to see this build and grow for 2, 3, 4 years."
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when Utah State was able to hold on to like its football players, that built a lot of hype, and especially with some good, well, at least highly rated transfers. We'll see how well they perform. That's always a question. We're gonna need to wait for that. But with basketball, especially where basketball, the rosters are a little condensed, so there's more hype surrounding each player, like on a per capita. But if the Aggies can hang on to this whole roster, the amount of hype there would be for this upcoming season, it would be fairly similar to like it was Craig Smith's second year. I remember the hype around that team.
Oh, yeah.
Like picked first in the Mountain West.
Oh, yeah.
All that. They preseason ranked for like second time ever, maybe even first time
Wasn't
ever.
it like 17th in the country, too?
Yeah, yes, it was like 17th or 18th. They got to one of their highest rankings ever, like in the preseason. They're up to like 12th or 13th. Like, so much hype around that team. Like, can you imagine? Like, keeping basically everyone on this roster and having that kind of hype. Like, that's where you're getting NIL, donations, season tickets, whole 9 yards. And that's where the athletic department can see dollar signs. Not just like, obviously, all these guys want the program to succeed even aside from that, but there's dollar signs attached to having this success in roster continuity.
I remember that team being so highly hyped, and then Montana State nearly coming in here and beating us because that Frey kid couldn't miss. He had like 37 points on us.
I know, it was really weird. I was covering that game. I was like, dang, this one kid.
Remember the lights went out twice?
Yeah, they did.
Fonzo was at the line to shoot free throws.
It was so weird. Like, and you kind of forget about that when I watched it back a couple times. Like, oh yeah, the lights went out in the
Fonzo
middle
was
of
at the
his free
line
throw.
late in the second half. I remember the second time they went out.
He still hit both those free throws though.
Yeah, he went 8 for 8 at the line.
Yeah,
Didn't miss a free throw that night.
He was very clutch that game. 9315 also texting, you need to ask Ajay if he heard about the time you pranked Eric because he was gone.
Well, Eric's been gone a lot.
I rickrolled Eric once.
You what?
I rickrolled him. Like the Rick Astley song, Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I did that where like one of the clips will sometimes play from press conferences. I just put in Never Gonna Give You Up. I named it something else, but I baited him with it. It was
That's pretty good.
I have a recording of it too.
I gotta hear that sometime. That's really good.
It was a lot of fun. It was about a year ago in January is when it was.
Man, that's awesome.
1181, he wants the breaking news.
Okay, what's up?
Ajay, who is the women's coach?
You will find out. Hopefully soon, you guys will find out.
Yeah, I keep
I
checking.
thought it would have been announced. Well, I mean, maybe they're waiting for some things, but it should be announced soon.
I keep checking my press release folder on my email. And
Nothing yet.
nothing.
I hope you guys will find out soon.
Yeah, we're kind of sitting on it.
Yep.
We're waiting to hear who it is. 2305 said, must have missed it. Can you describe what these helmets are supposed to look like, April Fools or not?
Oh, dude.
Well, it's a white helmet.
It's
and it's
Charlie
got, like,
Brown's costume from that Charlie Brown Halloween. That's what it is.
It's the white helmet that's got like cow print and like blue. And it's over the helmet.
It actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, like it's not bad. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it definitely grew on me, and I think it would end up being fine.
Dude, and here's the problem is I had the whole uniform decorated in my head too. Like all white pants, you have a cow on the side of like the hip side, like on the thigh, you're like a cow. Or no, that's like on that logo.
Well,
of the helmet too.
You got to get the bull logo.
Yeah,
too.
you got the udders or whatever those are called, like the milkers. You got those on the front of the jersey, and then you got the black marks on the pants, and you got a tail on the butt.
Well, I think they would go with the.
Why can't we do it?
Yeah, I know they'd go with the navy blue instead of the black. But yeah, I think they posted an image on like Utah State's football account or whatever.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, so like a lot of people really loved them. And speaking of which, 1623 says, honestly, I'm a fan of the helmets too.
Okay, see, yeah.
Not so much to talk about the udders on the jerseys, though.
I thought that was great. Come on, 1623, help me out. I thought it was awesome.
Well, especially if you just had the numbers on the front as like pink, is basically to simulate the udders.
Yeah.
But not on the back. Like on the back, you got to keep it like different color on the front. I don't know if that's legal, though. I don't know if you're allowed to have two different colors for your jersey numbers.
You probably aren't. Well, I don't know. I swear some of the weird uniforms like Oregon. I have to look at Oregon's. I swear they do the same thing, but maybe not.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, that was the funny thing is a lot of people just like it was an obvious April Fool's joke, and everyone was like, "But I love it."
I know.
It's not like Duke's blue field, which probably everyone would have thrown a fit. Boise State probably threw a fit because they're like, "Oh, it's
no," because actually Duke's looked really good.
That's true. Duke's looked better.
Sharp.
Theirs looked better than. I still would hate it, but like, it looks better, especially without that like orange color. That kind of makes it worse.
Yeah.
So, still. Anyway, 5344 texting again said, while we're on the topic, CSU has a cool state edition uniform that models their flag. I think USU should do the same. Now talking about their state flag.
No kidding? Really?
That's the thing. Would Utah State use the old flag where the blue background matches their school color, or they use the new flag? Because they got the new flag.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Which,
so does Colorado? Wait. Read that again. Then Colorado
State has a cool state edition uniform that models their flag, like the Colorado State flag. Which
okay, yeah.
Obviously, Colorado love their flag. It's a really cool design, but so I guess they have one that mirrors that. I don't know if I've seen that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty sick. I think I've seen it on Twitter. USU could do something similar. Oh, maybe they could. Right?
Yeah,
do something similar to that.
They could try it.
You just have to have your. You don't have to have your logo imprinted on the uniform, do you?
I don't think there's any requirements for logos or anything. You're required to have numbers, and there's some other minor requirements.
And I just looked it up. You actually do have to have the same color for the number. You can't have different colors.
Yeah. I kind of figured that'd probably be the case.
I didn't know.
And I know they also have to be like, I think there's a rule about it being like a distinct color or something like that.
Oh, really?
Because I think I saw a game once where a team was penalized. And I think the penalty was like they were forced to use a timeout. Like, either at the start of every quarter or the start of every half. And so it was like some minor penalty because their numbers were like too hard to read or something like that.
Well, that's bullcrap because I swear like Las Vegas or UNLV, I should call them, and other teams have really hard numbers to read, or as you know, like really hard numbers to read from the press box.
Yeah, well,
nearly impossible.
The last time I watched UNLV, it was the problem is they would reflect the light. And
that's
so if you tried to read the numbers, you were blinded.
That's what it was.
So you still couldn't read them, but for
Other reasons,
for
yeah.
other reasons.
Yeah.
896. I almost said 8960. Do we even have a texter with that? 8908. He's asking, could you repeat where we find the podcast with Mason Falso?
Oh.
One with you and JC Carroll.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking, 8908. Appreciate that. So it's on Apple or Spotify. It's called Unequaled. It's JC Carroll and myself doing a podcast with athletes or those in the sports industry about their careers or their highs and lows. Mason, we have 2 parts to it because it was an hour long. And the first part is up right now. It's on Apple or Spotify. Again, it's called Unequaled. And part 2 will be up Wednesday morning.
Yeah. And if you follow Ajay on Twitter or social media, I know you've posted it there.
Yeah.
So make sure to go listen to it. Give Ajay a follow. If you're not, you should be following him anyway.
Oh,
so.
that's super kind of you. It was awesome. And Mason was so, it's funny, Jason, can I just add this? Like, when people come in to do a podcast, it's not to sit with me, it's to sit with JC Carroll. Like,
yeah.
they kind of like, oh my gosh, that's JC Carroll. And Mason, I think, was a little bit tense at first, kind of not knowing what to expect. And then, JC was great about opening up and cracking a joke and kind of just settled the whole environment down. And Mason was so genuine and so kind and so authentic about everything that's gone on in his basketball career, whether it was at Skyview, being at Utah, going on a mission, coming to Utah State, being with Odom, even the Sprinkle, era that he was with. He was so authentic and genuine about it. I think you Aggie fans will really, really enjoy that podcast with JC and myself. I think it was awesome. And I think here in the offseason we'll have Sam Merrill. We're hoping to get Nemish Keta, Luka Doncic, Ricky Rubio, guys who played in Spain, in the likelihood of with the relationship they have with JC. So a lot more great guests to come, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good Aggie coverage and local coverage as well. So
that's what we're about.
Good stuff.
Not as good as Jason Walker in the full court press, but good enough.
What a try.
Hey, recap a little bit this Calhoun hire. I like the energy. I like what I'm seeing. Isaac Johnson coming back, I think, is going to be the first trend of a slew of players. I think that will decide the same thing. And I loved your article on CashFlyDaily.com of kind of who Calhoun is. Is there anything that surprised you as you were doing some studying on Calhoun, whether it was on the court, outside of coaching, anything that stood out to you?
Not a ton. I didn't research a ton outside. I think I was a little surprised where, like my first impression was, okay, this is a guy that kind of rebuilt Youngstown State. But then it was like the success he had and some of the connections with the coaches. Like when it was like Joe Mazzulla, it's like randomly connected to an obviously very successful head coach in the NBA or, one of the up and coming young coaches in the NBA. And then like how successful he was at Fairmont State. I keep forgetting what it's called. But like, because that's the kind of thing you look for in a head coach is like you look for success. Because you expect, when a coach is successful and is good, that success will follow them. And so I saw that and I was like, okay, because that kind of, assuaged some of my initial concerns because I saw a guy who went 8-24.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he rebuilt it, but like, maybe. Is that like a one-time thing? But it's like, okay, but he, was running the table in the Division II level. Went to Youngstown State, a difficult place to play, and success eventually followed him there. And so that was the kind of thing that surprised me. Is like people might look at him and say, "Oh, he's not that successful." Like, no, this dude has had success. It's not been a ton at the Division I level yet, but it was like Danny Sprinkle. He didn't have a ton of success. He had 2 decent years, but success had generally followed him where he'd gone as a player, as an assistant, as a head coach.
And as you mentioned, it's Youngstown State. We're not talking about Montana State here. It's Youngstown.
Yeah.
And this is a hard place to win at. It's a hard place to recruit to. It's a hard place to compete with. Like, there's just not a lot there with Youngstown State. And I mean, former place of Jim Tressel, he obviously built some name into it. But I just, what he's been through and the success he had, even though, as you mentioned, didn't stand out. Dude, I'm all for this. Well, I think this is a great look and a great find by Diana Stable. I'm excited.
Yeah, and that's something that I haven't had a chance to meet him yet and really be around him at all. So I'm really looking forward to the press conference, which presumably will be coming the next day or two. Don't know when exactly. They'll announce that soon. But, just looking to see, because like when saw Craig Smith and Danny Sprinkle, you were immediately noticed the energy those guys had.
Yep.
And, you watch him in practice. Like I remember the first time I went to a practice and Danny Sprinkle was there, you could tell like I was intense. And he was in a good way. Like he was, grilling his players, like, you will do these things, and that's something that made Danny Sprinkle a guy who was actually capable of doing what he did last season. So we'll be able to say a bit more after the press conference. We'll get an idea of who he is, like as a person, as opposed to just reading everyone else's testimonials and endorsements.
Yeah.
So we'll get an idea of that in the coming days. One more text before we go to break. 9315 saying, did you see on Twitter that somebody did a mashup and a breakdown of a bunch of Calhoun's previous players and games to see what his scheme is?
Was that the Ag Ship?
Probably was. He's usually good at that.
Dude, he is. That guy works tirelessly. I wonder if he sleeps at night sometimes. I'm being dead serious, too. Sometimes I'm like, dude, this was out 6 hours ago. That's like 1 a.m. in the morning. Go to bed.
Yeah. I
stay do it tomorrow.
Sometime. I stay up late sometimes, but I'm not nearly as productive as he is. So.
Nah, if I'm up that late, I'm playing video games or watching a show.
That's usually me.
Not doing Utah State research, but good on him.
We need to take a break. When we come back, I ran a poll on the good old X Twitter and about what grade you would give. I could only give 4 options. I have A, B, C, and F. What are the results so far? You can actually still go vote on the poll if you haven't, but interesting. I'll contrast it with a couple polls I ran about, when all the buzz was about maybe Todd Kowalczyk or Todd Simon. So compared to those polls, what Aggie fans think of this hire as opposed to old potential hires. We'll have that coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
Rely now on a York Affinity Premium Comfort System to keep your home cool and comfortable. The new Affinity systems are smarter and more connected and more efficient than ever before. And you can cut your energy costs by as much as 50%. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, to schedule a free system evaluation. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning showroom is west of DI and online at advancedheating-ac.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Spring. It's time to get those old rusted vehicles moved. Call DD Auto and Salvage and get paid for moving that old rusted out junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it easy and fast, paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
Experience Barrel and Stave on Federal Avenue, where good food, good drinks, and good people meet, using local ingredients to create the most delicious taste possible. Barrel and Stave is a cozy cocktail bar offering a large selection of wines, whiskeys, and cocktails, along with an amazing selection of bar bites and weekly chef specials guaranteed to tantalize your taste buds. With live music every Wednesday night and Thirsty Thursdays that offer $2 off drafts, come and see what you've been missing. Barrel and Stave, Tuesday through Saturday evenings on Federal Avenue.
Students love their experience at New Horizons Beauty College.
As soon as I walked into New Horizons, I instantly got a warm welcome. When Amy was giving me a tour, other students came up to me and were so friendly, I already felt like I was part of the school. Once I get into the salon, I look forward to making others feel beautiful and confident. My name is Audrey, and I'm a student here at New Horizons Beauty College.
Begin your career in cosmetology at New Horizons Beauty College, 753-9779.
Are you ready for what Mother Nature has in store this winter? Don't let unexpected collisions put a dent in your plans. Accidents happen, and Mako, America's auto body shop, is here to help. They specialize in collision repair, offering quick service without compromising on quality work. They'll have you back behind the wheel in no time, so you can stay ahead of impending bad weather. Trust Logan Mako for top-notch collision repair. Conveniently located on 10th West in Logan. 24/7 towing available.
With 64 games in the books, UConn, Purdue, NC State, and Alabama now converge on Phoenix, with just 2 more wins needed to claim the 2024 NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Tune in this Saturday to hear Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA Final Four.
Pre-game begins at 1:30 with tip-off at 2:30 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, also streaming online and the Fan mobile app.
Following the local teams, it's the Full Court Press with Eric Franson and Jason Walker.
It's the Full Court Press. Jason Walker here with Ajay Salvesen in for Eric Franson. Glad he could be on. Here to plug his podcast. It's a very good one, though, so I'm glad to.
I felt bad doing that.
I said you mentioned it offhand, but then it's super relevant information because you're obviously interviewing these guys, and then you'd asked about it. So
yeah,
I know you guys should definitely go listen to it. 6521 saying Scotty G said on his show today that he and Hans are doing their show here tomorrow for the presser.
Yes, they are. I got to go engineer that.
Yeah, so Ajay will be around.
Yay for me.
Yeah, they haven't officially announced a press conference, but I know it's happening. So,
yep. So Calhoun will be announced,
and presumably a women's basketball head coach, because that's like the assumption is that they're going to announce them at the same
press
time.
Conference, yeah.
Like that's what we're assuming is they're going to do it at the same time. And some people have reported that, and it's like, yeah, of course they're going to do that. But we'll have to find out.
Man, when's the last time a university did that? A men's and women's basketball coach on the same presser.
Probably about as often as you have a men's and women's head coach hired at the same time, which probably isn't that often.
Yeah.
So fairly rare, but
it's inside the Estes, is that right? Open to fans?
Yeah, usually that's what they do. It's open to fans.
Public.
You go to the Estes. Usually you fill out one side of the bleachers. They have the wonder the podium will be bigger or more people sitting there because usually they bring in the head coach's family.
Yeah.
Parents, kids, wife. If they got them.
Media will be there as well.
Yeah, media, and I think usually they save us seats and we ask questions. And they have fans ask questions. So
that part kind of scares me sometimes. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, the fans.
I love the fans. Don't get me wrong, but scares me a little bit every now and then.
Wanted to bring up a poll because I have to use my social media for work. Otherwise, I can't justify having it. But I ran some polls last week on Twitter, just basically saying, because there were the rumors about Todd Kowalczyk, Todd Simon. I was like, what would you grade the Aggies if they hired these guys? They obviously didn't, but it was interesting to see the contrast. Todd Kowalczyk got iffy reviews. I had 4 options, A, B, C, and F. I only get 4 options, so I just went with that. The winning entry was C. 39% of people voted C, 33% B, and then you had about 14% each for A and F. So fairly middling reviews for people were not super excited about the prospect of Todd Kowalczyk coaching the Aggies.
Okay,
which surprised me how potentially negative some of that was. Todd Simon, that same question, but what if they hired Todd Simon? Most of them were A and B. 39% B, 37% A. So people are a lot more excited about potentially having Todd Simon.
Interesting.
Which we talked about that Friday. I won't rehash it again and again, but I thought that was curious. So I ran the poll, and it's still active, and it'll be going for about another day or so. But here's 47% of people say B, 45% of people say A. So 92% of people, of the 200 people that have voted. So a grand sample size here, but 92% general approval rating, above average. They're at least somewhat excited about it.
Okay.
Almost half people saying that this is an A hire. And so there's 2% said F, so I don't know, grand total of 4 people in this poll. And then 5 or 6 say C. So that was something that was interesting to me is people are super excited about this. And so I think it shows this fan base realized they see, okay, 20-12 one year, 24-11 the other. That's not super flashy, but it goes to show people talk about this fan base being knowledgeable. They are they see beyond just the record, and they see the potential that Jerrod Calhoun has to maintain continuity with this roster.
Sure.
Now, I don't know if the news about Isaac Johnson bumped that poll any. that may have stoked fan excitement a little bit to where Calhoun maybe got one of the guys that has a lot of potential to stick around. But I think it does show this fan base is excited, and that's good news for Diana Sabo. Her job is to not only hire a good candidate, but to hype it up really well, because that's there's a whole PR department for Utah State Athletics. Their job is to get people excited, sell tickets, build hype, and so it's just overall good news I think for Diana Sabo with this hire. For now, we'll see how things go. You never know how a coaching stint is going to last, but right now, and I think they should get a good hiring grade.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere between a B or an A. I'm not sure which one I'd give myself. But given that I don't know if there were a whole lot of A+ coaching hires out there. least of coaches that were actively looking for jobs, and the ones that were, they were getting snapped up by Louisville and Washington and all these other, there were a lot of, I think Oklahoma State just hired the coach out of Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Who he was a candidate some people were targeting for maybe Utah State.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of these good coaches were getting snapped up by Power 5 programs, and that left Utah State to try and maybe find a diamond in the rough.
I know they had their eyes on the Drake coach, and that didn't waste any time from West Virginia. They're like, nobody's looking at this guy except for us.
Yeah, so a lot of really good candidates were snapped up, and Utah State had to go out there and do what they always do, find a diamond in the rough. And I don't know if I can, again, Jerrod Calhoun has done almost literally nothing on the job so far. He's had it for all of 2 days. But I think this is a good hire.
I like him. I like a lot. I mean, energy. And when I see a little bit of film on him, he's a defensive-minded coach. Got to play D to win games. I'm excited to see it. Time will tell. Like you said, we can't know all the facts yet until we see him on the court. But time will tell, but I'm excited what we've seen so far.
0366 saying, I'm not sure I like it. I think each coach deserves their own spotlight.
Oh, the presser. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard, though. I see what 0366 is saying, and respectfully, absolutely. But I think it's hard to do 2 press conferences and market both of them within the same week, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and especially when you're trying to build hype for the women's basketball program where it's kind of been dead for a while.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds bad to try and say they're maybe piggybacking off the men's basketball team, but you got to build some hype. And once that hype, and if that success is there, we've seen what volleyball and soccer and all these teams have done, even gymnastics when they're dipping a little bit after a great year a couple years ago. But these teams need success and they need hype and you need excitement. So I do get to you're not going to get as much of a spotlight, and you may end up having more cheers and clapping for the men's basketball head coach.
Yeah.
But I think it's not bad. But I get what 0366 is saying here.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
5452 saying, do we know what time the press conference is tomorrow?
It's 11 a.m.
Go with that. I was about to say I hadn't heard yet because I haven't received an initial announcement.
Yeah, 11 a.m.
We'll go with that. So are they going to announce it at 7 p.m. tonight? Hey, everyone, tomorrow morning, set your alarms.
They might.
Official announcements.
Yeah.
Media advisory, Utah State men's and women's basketball
and
press
guess what they just announced?
I know, I got that one too.
Oh, it's finally announced. I don't have to watch it anymore.
So here we go. This is the one I've been waiting for. Women's basketball head coach. So we can actually say who it is now. Women's basketball head coach has been named. It is Wesley Brooks, former Ohio State assistant at Ohio State, Michigan, North Texas, Texas Southern, Robert Morris. He's had a lot of stops. He has a full 2 decades of coaching experience as an assistant. It's entirely as an assistant. He's also a grad assistant and director of basketball operations separately. He was first a grad assistant, then director of basketball ops at West Virginia after coming out of college. So there's your new women's basketball head coach. Breaking news.
It's a good hire. It's a really good hire. This guy brings a lot of experience at a high-level program. It is at Ohio State, so everyone's like, hey. So Dan went to Ohio twice to grab the new head coaches for the basketball programs, but it's a good hire. I love this. I love his experience. He's had a lot of success. He's seen a lot of success with the rosters. He's very bright, very smart. I think this is going to be an impressive look, and I think it's going to be. I know there wasn't a lot of expectation already from where the women's basketball program was, but this is going to be a huge upgrade for the program. I know that doesn't shock anybody when I say that.
Well, it's
and by the way, he was at Utah too.
Oh yeah, I skipped over that one. Thank you 3714 actually. Brooks spent 2 years at Utah. Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I missed that. I think it was between the Texas Southern and North Texas. I think, or I don't know, or maybe it was between those two and when he went to Michigan / Ohio State. That's weird. He's on both sides of Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah,
kind of funny there. But 8577 texting in. Do you think Calhoun will bring any of his former players with him? Players from Youngstown State. And the answer is, I think a lot of those, that was like the first thing I did, or maybe second thing I did after hearing Jerrod Calhoun was, all right, what players are on his roster? Did the same thing with Danny Sprinkle. Although Danny Sprinkle was on my roster, so I'd already done some of that research.
Sure.
Calhoun kind of came out of left field for me. But looking at it, a lot of them are graduating, so a lot of his key players were like fifth-year seniors. So unless they have like a sixth year of eligibility, they probably won't be coming. There is one, and again, I'm pretty sure it was... I'm going to double-check this name because I have this weird inkling that I'm getting it wrong. So I have to type it in. But I'm pretty sure it's DJ Burns, which the reason I'm afraid is because there's a DJ Burns on NC State. Yeah, DJ Burns. He was their second leading scorer on Youngstown State last year. He has already entered the portal. And as far as I know, hasn't committed anywhere. And what was funnier is that he actually, somebody had said on social media, like, hey, come to Utah State. And he, like, responded to it with, I forget, it was some, like, emoji, like, you know, some indication, like, oh, hey, maybe I'm thinking about it. Some kind of tease there. Well, this guy who averaged 13 points, 11 rebounds. He's a 6'7", kind of probably more of a power forward.
God, that's a good man. You say 6'7", 13 and 7? 13.7 boards?
13 points, 11 boards.
Geez, 13 and 11 at 6'7". That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. And it's inflated a little bit because it's the Horizon League. He wouldn't probably be able to pull that off at Utah State, but it shows good rebounding. He was, you know, all defensive selection. He was all Horizon League this year. I don't know if he was first team or second team. The place I'm looking at doesn't tell me whether it's first team or second team. But yeah, he was second team all Horizon, and he was Horizon all defense. So that's kind of the one player. I know some others have highlighted on this. I don't know if I can say his name. Gabe Dines, I think is how you say his name. Mm-hmm. He was a freshman last year. I think he was on the all freshman team. I think Horizon might have an all freshman team. I think he received some kind of freshman honor. But he's a 7'3" center. He's all of 190 pounds. So he's Max Agmunk Polo's weight and about 5 inches taller. Actually, 6 inches taller. So tells you a little bit about him. So maybe, but then again, like Utah State, if they hold their roster together, they're not going to have a whole lot of slots. Now, if 3 or 4 guys transfer, which is still very much on the table, still very likely even, there's a chance he could bring these guys over. And if Burns came over, like, he would be a really fun small ball pairing. Like, Burns would probably come off the bench. This would be presuming Osobor stays. If Osobor leaves, Burns would essentially be the Osobor replacement. Like, that's the position he would play. But it'll be fun because and I don't want to get too far into speculation because this is something that hasn't happened yet and probably won't happen, but he would almost play the Dan Akin role, where he comes in as a sixth-man big to, you know, get the team playing some really fun small ball. So that's the one thought I had about players following Calhoun from Youngstown State to Utah State. It's basically DJ Burns and maybe Gabe Dines. But again, only Burns has entered the transfer portal as of now.
Can I ask you a random question? Because I feel like you would know the answer to this. Can small ball work in the Mountain West Conference?
Like, everybody played small ball in the Mountain West. Like, the funny thing is, everybody in the Mountain West, almost to a T, starts a 7-footer or like 6'11" guy.
Yeah.
But then everybody subs out their center to play small ball like 80% of the minutes. So, like, everyone in the Mountain West plays small ball. Some of them have to play it permanently, like the Air Force Fresno State. I know it didn't work very well for them, but like Utah State was playing small ball like 70% of its minutes. You know, whenever Isaac Johnson wasn't on the court, and sometimes Khalifa Sako, like, well, maybe, well, sometimes it would depend on the matchup. But like, a lot of people play small ball in the Mountain West. Like, a lot of people can play big, but a lot of them prefer to play small ball. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. No, that makes sense.
5344 says Utah State, Ohio State University, Logan, Utah campus. That's kind of what it's feeling like.
That makes sense, yeah. I mean, I get it. People are like, well, this was like one of those, people are going to call it, and I know, well, some people might think of it as a buddy hire. It's not. The same thought process that Diana Sabo and Jerry Bovee had about the women's program, that it has to and needs to be better, that there must be improvements, that we want to see it grow and succeed. It's the same thought process they had for women's basketball. It wasn't a sector of favoring one more than the other. No, they want to see both programs succeed at a high level in the Mountain West Conference and hopefully above and beyond there. And that's why, I mean, they went through the process. They were thorough with it in their interviews and looking at candidates. And I'm excited about Wesley Brooks. I think Wesley Brooks is going to be a huge, I think it will be a huge improvement. And again, that's not saying a whole lot from what we've seen the last, I got to be careful, but the last 4 years, which was, man, I got to try to be polite here, which was hard.
It was rough.
It was. There we go. That's a good word to use. I didn't know how to phrase it. But it was rough.
It was rough. It was rocky. There were a lot of losses.
A lot of them were by 40.
Yeah.
And I was running out of things to say on the air.
Yeah, I did have a season where I was calling it was boys basketball and the team went like 2-25.
Oh, dude, it's so hard.
And it's tricky interviewing the coach. You know, yet again. It's like, all right, you lost by 20 again. Tell us about this one. 2305 said, I know it really doesn't matter, but does Coach Sprinkle at Washington have much of a chance of putting together a real good team at the University of Washington playing in the Big Ten for next year? It depends if he can replicate a lot of what he did last year at Utah State, where like he found good transfers, brought them in. He's not going to face the same extreme. But the other thing is like Big Ten basketball is a step up, and it's also a different just class of athlete that you need to have like a roster full of. I think Utah State would have struggled competing in the Mountain West in the Big Ten because like they have good players, and I mean heck, Ian Martinez played in the Big Ten, so it's not like he'd be outclassed, but like top to bottom, it's like in football. Like the difference isn't the SEC having the best of the best athletes; it's that they have more of those athletes, and that's where Danny Sprinkle may run into a problem. It's kind of the problem that Craig Smith ran into. Is that he had good players. He brought some of them over with him to Utah. Mm-hmm. But, like, a roster full of those really struggled to compete in the Pac-12. But
well, the other problem is that with that, it's hard. Like, the level of physicality and size in the Big Ten would have been a huge, massive problem for this past Utah State team. Like, if you we found that if you took Osobor out of the game and try to make everybody else beat you, it was going to be hard for the Aggies to win some of these games with elite defensive teams, and that was kind of the case there. So, yeah.
All right, we need to take a break. We're a little bit behind here. We actually got to take 2 breaks really quick here. We'll be back after this here on the Full Court Press.
Beazer Lock & Key specializes in securing your world with their expertise in locks, keys, and hardware. Every aspect of their services is meticulously tailored to ensure your safety. They offer a vast selection of hardware brands and access control options, along with custom master key systems. With Beazer Lock & Key, you have control of your facility's access 24/7. For 28 years, Beazer has provided top-notch security solutions that stand unmatched in the industry. Visit 4th North, 1st West, and Logan, or go to BeazerLock.com to discover more.
Imagine your wedding day. Elegant, simple, yet stunning, stress-free. It's your day. It's all about you. Whether you're looking for small and simple or have a grander idea, the Riverwoods Conference Center will accommodate your every need. Choose the inside ballroom elegance or outside along the natural decor of the beautiful Logan River. A Riverwoods event planner will work personally with you to make sure your event is exactly how you've envisioned it. The Riverwoods Conference Center, where your happily ever after begins. Google Riverwoods Conference Center or call 750-5151.
Advanced Fireplace and Stove wants to thank you for voting them 3 years running the gold medal winners in the Best of Northern Utah contest. With over 35 display models in their showroom, their goal is to make the process of making your home comfortable and cozy an easy experience. With premier brands like Heat and Glow, Quadrifire, and Vermont Castings, they have something for every style, every home, every budget. Building or renovating, they've got you covered. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, where comfort is their business.
The Aggies are #1 here. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
the full court press. We got to kind of go quick here in this segment. We got really behind. We got distracted by the breaking news on the show where Wesley Brooks, former assistant at Ohio State for their women's basketball team, also stints at Michigan, Utah, North Texas, among others. I think Texas Southern, Robert Morris. I think I'm missing somebody else, but was also like a grad assistant at West Virginia. So 20 years of experience as an assistant coach. Going to get his first job as a head coach at Utah State. Success has very much followed him when he's been at Michigan and Ohio State. I think when he was assistant at those schools in a combined 7 years, I think there might have been one season where they didn't win 20 games.
Yep.
And that one, it was 19 wins.
Yeah.
And a lot of 25 wins.
And I think that if I looked it up right, that one loss that they had that made him short of 20, it was a 3-point loss in overtime.
Yeah, so
he
he's been around a lot of success. It's harder to tell with an assistant coach, but when that kind of success is following you around, especially for about 7 years or so, a lot of that's going to rub off on you. You very much hope that it translates to him learning, how to be a really good head coach. He's coached a lot of really good players. I mean, just go through his profile, and I'll have something up on Cache Valley Daily shortly. Basically, when I get off the show, I'm going to go publish an article.
Yeah, you're going to have to get right to work, huh?
Because, I've written 2/3 of it, so because I knew he was going to get hired. But
you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's listening to 5:47 in the evening, but
yeah,
or anyone of importance.
Anyone of importance. But,
love you, man.
Sorry.
No, so this is exciting though, right? You get an assistant from Ohio State with legitimacy, a legitimate resume, who he's a proven winner on a staff that wins consistently. Now, here's the question. Unlike the men's part where you're trying to get players to stay and you're like, hey, we need you here, want you to be here. Jason, I'm going to put you on the spot. How do you handle the women's roster? Do you say, hey, look, appreciate you being here. I've got to find players who can win. Or do you just do you take it in the chin for a year?
Well, reports are that 5 or so players are already hitting the portal, from what I've seen.
Now, here's the kicker. 4 of those, a lot of them really want to stay. They're just in there in case they're told to go.
They might get told to go.
Yeah.
Because this roster was full of backups on JUCO and Division II programs. That's a lot of the transfers they got coming in. Now, some of them, particularly Cheyenne Stubbs, proved my own doubts wrong. I didn't think they were going to be a whole lot of successful, and she ends up averaging 17 points a game. That's someone that you think can stick around.
But the problem is, you look at those numbers, can we just be very blunt with each other here? 17 points a game, a lot of that was in garbage time in the fourth quarter when we were trailing by a lot. They put their second, third string roster.
It's not going to translate to being a 17-point per game scorer on a championship-level team, but it'll translate to being a good scorer on a good team.
Yeah.
Because, some of that is empty calorie scoring, some of that is inefficient scoring, but she probably could have scored more if you build a good team around these players and if you put them in a good system. So I think that there's room for some of these players to be on a Division I roster. Some of them, you got to find a place for them to go. There are some promising players. We're gonna see how all these things go. We're gonna see which players transfer out, and we're gonna see which players transfer in.
Yeah.
Can Wesley Brooks bring in some key players? But we'll find out. One more text, then we got to take another break.
Okay.
Does Darius Brown have any more eligibility for USU?
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, everyone wishes.
Man, I wish. Just come on, find a way. Something. He's got to get a medical. I mean, was there a year that he was sick?
No.
Come on, something.
Well, actually, maybe there was, but I think he would.
Oh, he's used it up.
Yeah.
He started in Craig's first year.
Yeah.
He's done.
He's been around a little too long. Anyway, got to take a break. We'll be back after this on the Full Court Press.
Looking for luxury appliances with that local touch? Look no further than Daryl's Appliance. This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. With our 5-star installation and service, you'll experience the pinnacle of convenience and satisfaction. Why juggle multiple tasks when you can have it all under one roof? From planning to selection to installation, let us take care of everything for you. Whether it's for your new home or a remodel, trust us to guide you through the appliance selection process. And nobody knows appliances like we do. Experience the Daryl's difference west on Airport Road.
You are the dancing queen.
Nothing better than a great song from 1976. Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance, and I'm talking to you, graduating class of 76. Even if you're still working or getting ready to retire, Medicare is a conversation we need to have. Let us help you understand Medicare and all your options. Don't rely on TV ads or annoying phone calls. Having a local agent makes all the difference. Call LSS at 752-9493. Call 752-9493.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Adams Wealth Advisors is proud to announce that they've been named as one of the best financial advisory firms in the country by USA Today. Start maximizing your wealth potential with a team of experienced advisors who specialize in working with high net worth individuals. Let Adams Wealth Advisors help you achieve your financial goals with a personalized approach to investment management and planning. For more information on how Adams Wealth Advisors can help you achieve your financial goals, go to adamswealthadvisors.com. That's adamswealthadvisors.com.
JM Mechanical knows spring is sure to make its appearance someday, and when it does, how soon we'll forget the snow, ice, and 0-degree temperatures. 90-plus degree days will take over. JM Mechanical knows how to deal with the extreme temperatures of northern Utah. They know how to replace every type of heating or air conditioning brand. Fast 24-hour service is available in Box Elder, Cache, and Franklin counties with a 100% satisfaction guarantee and upfront pricing. Call JM Mechanical at 563-6267. That's 563-6267.
Interviews, analysis, and a little bit of fun mixed in. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
So, Ajay, I was planning on revealing the Pick 6 results during this segment.
Yeah.
And I realized during that last commercial that I hadn't actually tabulated the results. So.
Gosh dang it, Jason. You had one job, man.
I know.
One job.
Know. I could probably guess most of these, but I can't say for certain. So I'm going to have to wait.
Just say you won.
I'm pretty sure.
Eric's not here for like the next 2 days, dude. And when he comes back, he'll be like, hey, by the way, just so you know, I did win Pick 6. And make it by like, hey, I won 4-2. And he'll be like, great, here's your treat. He won't even think anything of it.
That's true.
Honestly, he won't, because you guys got another Pick 6 that day anyways when he comes back.
Pretty much. But
so
yeah,
just lie.
I'm pretty sure I won.
Yeah,
but like I'm not 100% sure.
Don't just say you won.
I'm awarding myself the win.
Don't put pretty sure in. Just say I won. That's all you have to tell him.
I have won by default.
Okay, there you go. No, dang it, Jason. You have a shortened show tomorrow, right?
I do. It'll be about a half hour because we have, I believe, the NIT like semifinals. I think.
Craig Smith.
Yep. So you'll be able to hear. I believe it'll be that game. It'll be one of those two games, maybe both, because the like pregame will start at like 4:30 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So it will be a shortened show. We'll basically spend the entire time talking about the introductory press conference, which is happening tomorrow. They've now announced that, media releases and all that fun stuff, along with the complete announcement of both basketball head coaches for Utah State, Jerrod Calhoun of men's basketball and Wesley Brooks for women's basketball. The future is now.
Finally, let's talk. Finally, get into basketball.
Yeah.
Finally, the rumors and crap can stop.
Finally, get into basketball, get into transfer news, because women's basketball, they're going to need to bring in some players. Basketball, you got to figure, or for men's basketball, you got to figure out who's leaving. If you kind of hope, if anybody, there will be some, like, if who will be leaving, who may be coming back. As far as guys who've entered the portal, maybe they'll come back. High school recruits have decommitted, maybe they'll return to the fold. We'll find out. It'll be an exciting week. I think this is the week where we're going to find out a whole lot about the men's team.
Oh, yeah.
For the women's team, I think it's going to be a longer process. It'll be more drawn out. Not as many of the players are public with their intentions of entering the transfer portal. Because I've heard reports of a bunch of different players, but I've stalked their social medias, and none of them have said anything about it. So I'm like, okay. Like the men,
or don't you?
The men can't wait to put out, they're on their social media that they're staying or going, but the women are a little more humble about it, I guess. But we'll find out because with this hiring, we're going to see guys like Great Osborne, Ian Martinez, Mason Falslev, Josh Udigi. He'll go down the whole roster. It was like when I think it was Sam Farnsworth had a tour. It was like, here's the guys I expect from Utah State to enter the portal, and it was just all of them. So he listed all the players pretty much. But we'll see how many of them enter the portal. Do some of them come out of the portal? That's where we're going to spend the entire week learning as we wait to see what these players decide to do with their future. You're going to see more and more,
by the way, as we get through the week.
Yeah, we will. This is a big week for Utah State basketball. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Ajay for joining me here on the Full Court Press, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.